Hello, Rare Elvis Photo fans. You guys know how dear Anne Margaret is to my heart. I think she's a sweetheart, with or without Elvis Presley. And of course, we all know Elvis and Anne Margaret had a wonderful affection, love affair with each other. This is an interview from 1961 of Anne Margaret. I think she's so adorable, so sweet. Let me know what you think in the comments. We'll talk about it through the interview.
Anne Margaret is in Austin to talk about the motion picture State Fair. Okay, well, let's talk about movies a little while now. Then your first movie was what?
Pocket Full of Miracles.
And you played what sort of role?
Well, this was a very teensy part, the daughter of Bette Davis, Louise. And this was a very young, sweet, innocent girl.
And I don't have to look at the camera. I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about Anne Margaret. She was sweet, she was innocent. That's kind of who she was. And I know she gets this reputation as being a sex pot and all that stuff. And yes, they marketed her that way later on. But Anne Margaret, she loved to sing, she loved to dance. She loved to act.
Would you say this was typecasting?
I don't
Don't
know.
answer that.
I don't know.
Okay, so what sort of role do you play in State Fair?
This girl's about 23, 24, and she's been around state fairs as an entertainer since she was 15. She's just a little bit tarnished, and the clothes she wears are all very, very tight. She wears a lot of jewelry. She's just a little less than chic.
That's a good way to put it.
Yes, well, and also I was going to say, her hair is bright red. They stripped, bleached, and dyed my hair red for this fall.
And so, who didn't know that Anne Margaret's hair was not red? That it was naturally really brunette, dark brunette. That was Anne's natural hair color. And of course, everybody knows her as a redhead because that's how she stayed for the most part. After she had her hair dyed for this movie, I think she might have had one other movie that she went back to her natural hair color. But really interesting, what Hollywood does to give you an identity. So let's get back to the interview here.
And your hair is naturally what color?
Very dark brown.
Dark brown. And I've seen you. I saw your screen test, which we will see incidentally on this station next Sunday night on the Ed Sullivan Show, apparently.
Right.
We heard him plug it last week. And this interview will precede that showing. And you were a brunette and apparently a blonde in that.
Well, the first part is taken from State Fair, the actual movie, the dramatic scene. And the second part, which is Bill Bailey, was taken from the screen test in January, 61.
I don't know what I'm doing sitting here talking about hair. Let's go on to another subject.
So I've just got to say that you could see how easy it was for Elvis to fall in love with Anne with a laugh like that, with a personality like that, with a smile like that, with a heart like that. Let me know what you think in the comments about that as well.
Tell me, now this State Fair is a remake of the old State Fair which starred Vivian Blaine and...
We don't call this a remake.
Oh, what do we call it?
This State Fair has been done twice.
I forget what this cat called it. I'm sure you got a fancy word for it.
But this is entirely new. This State Fair has 5 brand new songs written by Richard Rodgers, both the music and the lyrics, and the entire script has been rewritten. My part is a lot bigger. The conception of it is different. In the 1945 version of State Fair, Vivian Blaine had the role of Emily, and she was older than Dick Haymes. Now in this one, I'm younger than Pat Boone.
I've also just got to say, it's pretty interesting. We know that Pat Boone tried to compete with Elvis in the 50s, and he had a big following himself. But the fact that Pat Boone played opposite of Anne Margaret in this movie wouldn't have been lost on Elvis once he played, when she played Rusty and he was Lucky in Viva Las Vegas. So, she has a wonderful chemistry with whoever she plays with. So that's where it makes it a little more difficult. Now, once again, I know that they had a love for each other, and I know there's a lot of people that think that Ann was the love of Elvis's life. And I think that that might be true. That possibly might be true. But he didn't spend 5 or 6 years with Ann Margret. Now, he could have saw her in secret. I know that he did. She did have a key to the, I believe it was the Bel Air home. And, you know, she had her code name for Graceland. I think Thumper was the code name. But, you know, let me know your thoughts on that as well. You know, Pat Boone, did you like Pat Boone? Do you still like Pat Boone? You know, they always said he was the guy you could bring home to mom after church, and Elvis was not. Some people like that, some people don't. I'm assuming that there's a respect for Pat Boone on his channel, but maybe not a great desire for him. So let me know.
And also I sing and dance and act in this one.
And Pat Boone plays a role, may I say this, that Dick Haymes played? Is that all right to say that?
Yes.
Although it's not a remake, I understand
Right.
that.
That's right.
But don't tell me they cut the grand old song, It's a Grand Night for Singing.
No,
Good,
no.
good.
They have all the songs except, I think, All I Owe I Away.
During your career, who or what has been the greatest single factor that led to your success? Was it work? Was it luck? Was it a person? Or what?
I think faith that I would and will make it.
How about your folks?
Oh, they've
your
been
mother,
tremendous.
Mrs. Olson, who, you know your mother's name is Mrs. Olson, though, I don't
Yes.
have to tell you that. She is accompanying.
So that would be another reason that Elvis would have loved Ann. You know, the fact that she respected her parents, that smile came so easy, the respect came so easy for her parents that were wonderful, that supported her, that believed in her. You know, so it makes you wonder what life would have been like for Elvis with Ann Margret versus Priscilla. I mean, anyhow, let's get back to the video.
The child here on her tour, and a very charming woman. What influence did they have upon your career,
Well, my father and mother...
besides starting it?
Right. My father and mother have always wanted what I want. And as long as it's good for me. They've been great. I can remember my father taking me to singing lessons and dancing lessons and piano lessons on Saturdays. I remember we lived in a little town called Fox Lake, Illinois, and I took dancing lessons in a town called Antioch, Illinois, which was 40 miles away. So every Saturday he would drive me there and drive me back. And this was true of my singing lessons when I went down to Chicago every week. I would take the subway down, and then he would come down to Chicago and pick me up after the singing lesson.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it. I enjoy, in fact, I was playing the Ann Margret interview, and my wife says, who's that little sex kitten on your phone? You know, the voice. She's got that sweet little voice. And I think she knew it was Ann Margret. She knows that I adore Ann Margret, and I think she was extremely talented, and I appreciated the chemistry and love that she had with Elvis. And, you know, I think it's a very telling thing that, you know, once Elvis got married to Priscilla, and of course I believe coerced and forced into it, you know, she got married immediately after. And it wasn't like they were engaged. As far as I know from looking into things, it wasn't like it was an announced engagement for the last year or 2 years. It was Priscilla and Elvis get married, and Ann and Roger get married. Now, once again, I think Roger knew how much Ann was in love with Elvis, and you know, it takes a certain kind of a man to be able to put up with something like that, and to know that, hey, maybe I'm not first, you know, first in Ann's book. But you know, from all that I've studied and read and loved Roger, and Roger was a good husband to Ann. You know, the same could not be said for Priscilla. Priscilla was not the right match for Elvis, and Priscilla, you know, had her affair on Elvis in '68, just right after Lisa was born. Lisa came out, and then she had an affair almost immediately. I mean, it's not even waiting 9 months or a year. It was like, boom, let's go ahead and get it in with a dance instructor. You know, according to her book, she calls him Mark, and according to the Memphis Mafia, The instructor was Stephen Peck. Anyhow, let me know what you think about Anne Margret, about her acting, about her dancing, about her singing. I'm not the biggest fan of her singing personally. That being said, for the styles of the time, singing the jazz stuff, she was great. She's a very talented woman. Great dancer. I just think her personality is why she got cast in the roles that she got cast. Wonderful personality, very lovable, and that had to attract Elvis. That very loving, spiritual, the faith that she had, the love she had for her parents. So TCB TLC, till next time. Hope you enjoyed this video. And of course, I'll probably read the comments from this video once they get to be enough, like I'm starting to do. Hopefully, almost every day, if not every other day, I'll do a video where I go through the comments that you guys leave, because you're a huge part of this channel. Thanks so much. Like, subscribe, hit all notifications. If you can become a member, that will help me. I mean, I don't know if I'll ever be able to make make videos full time and put out as many as I want to. I juggle it with my work. I juggle it with my family. But if you can become a member, that kind of starts the journey for me. So anyways, until next time, this is Rare with Photos on YouTube here, Facebook, and TikTok. Take care.